10 tips for helping kids read with expression. Why does expression matter in the early years of reading? It is very common for teachers to make comments on a child's ability to read expressively, but why is this so important? Having a good grasp on expression in reading can begin to develop a whole spectrum of skills useful both now and in the future. The benefits range across developing a child's sense of empathy and creativity, understanding tones in different types of writing, being able to break down words into their phonemes for easier pronunciation, experience with multitasking, and having a greater ability to concentrate. This is why I always put flow and voice at the center of my written pieces for younger readers. By writing sentences that scream to be read out aloud, this process can be natural and fun for children and parents alike. What is robot reading? Robot reading is often the term used for when a child is not reading with expression. We are all familiar with this. The words come out as disjointed and monotone, making it difficult to get a feel for the sentence and sometimes even to understand the content or intention behind the words. Why do so many kids read like this in the beginning? Little readers have so much to learn about language and the ways that we express ourselves through it. It might be easy for an adult to pick up a sentence and tell how it should be read because we have a whole life of context from conversations, films, music, books, and media. We have learned how to express these words smoothly, and that can be an extra long journey for some kids. Two of the biggest roadblocks are energy and concentration. It takes a great deal of energy to focus on pronouncing the words properly, and anything above this is asking too much of the system sometimes. Just like a computer that keeps buffering a stream, these little reading robots are struggling with all of the material that they need to process. This can make them tired and cranky very quickly. If you have ever tried reading a book or listening to an extended conversation in a language that you only have the basics of, you can probably imagine the frustration and how draining the experience can be. So how can we help our robot readers blossom into well-oiled reaching machines? Balance in approach. As with most aspects of teaching and learning, it is helpful to strike a balance between systematic approaches and creative ones. In this article, we will be looking at some different techniques that will help to drill and practice the skills that a robot reader needs, while providing opportunities to support this learning with freedom and imagination. For systematic techniques, we will be considering core skills, the basics of reading expression that everybody needs to get the hang of, formatting and grammar, to help them understand the physical cues on the page that guide us with reading expression, language fundamentals, to know how invisible parts of language like word stress and emphasis work, using technology, how computers, apps, and audiobooks can provide chances for exact and reflective practice. To break up the work with these skills, we will also highlight the benefits of modeling, where we will discuss different types of reading out aloud together to make reading social and fun. Fleshing out characters, to bring out the storyteller in your child and show how the reading process can be layered with creativity. Role-playing, how take reading off the page, developing skills for drama and public speaking. Core skills. Systematic. There are 3 areas that are good to focus on when starting to help a reader struggling with expression: speed, accuracy, and volume. While there are a lot of other aspects to reading expressively, getting a grasp on these 3 skills will make everything else be more achievable. Speed. Being able to control speed helps a lot with clarity and the general flow of a sentence. Some readers will go fast to try to get through it. This will often cause them to make a lot of mistakes, which will make the overall process longer. It can also mean that they miss opportunities to learn, as they will be less likely to reflect on their errors. Other readers will want to go at what might feel like a tedious pace to you. This type of reader is probably self-conscious about mistakes and wants to take their time breaking each word down. Aside from not getting a sense of rhythm and flow in what they are reading, it can mean that they lost context for what is happening in the story. For this reader, going slow is a source of comfort. A great way to help with pacing, whether a reader is going fast or slow, is to let them do it their way first, then repeat the sentence after you at your pace. This way they still get to have a go at reading independently, but then also get to smooth out the mistakes and have a sense of the right pacing. Accuracy. Once a reader is more comfortable with speed, you can focus on accuracy. The thing that you have to decide is how many errors you will pick up on in the early days. While it is good for a reader to know when they have pronounced something incorrectly, identifying every mistake can be overwhelming. Build up their understanding slowly. Just as it is with speed, reading over the sentence for them at the end is a good way to help with this. The The reader can feel that they had a good go at the sentence themselves first, learn from some mistakes, and also hear the sentence with expression and error-free. This will still allow them to be able to enjoy the story and to see what they are working towards. Volume. After working on speed and accuracy, we can start to address volume. There can be a lot of different issues with volume when reading. Some readers are too loud and others are too quiet. One thing that you can try is a 3-tier volume system to start to give children a sense of differences in level of noise. You can use colors, animals, or other things that they are fond of to differentiate between loud, medium, and soft. On the quiet end of the spectrum, some kids will only feel comfortable with mouthing the words or whispering so softly that they are inaudible. For kids who are quiet readers, make sure that you can set aside time in a private environment where they are comfortable. They will be worried about other people overhearing them, even when this is just family members, particularly older siblings. It can be a source of anxiety. Another important thing to factor with regard to volume is having variation. Encourage children to use different volumes for different parts in a story or different characters. This might be tricky with a new book. Try an old favorite so that they know when loud and quiet parts are coming up. Modeling. Creative modeling is when we make reading more communal. While this is a fairly natural thing to do, we can make use of some specific techniques to make reading practice fun and productive. Best of all, your little reader has probably already had classroom experience with this type of reading, so they will be familiar with the structure. Reading to them or page for page. One way that you can model for your reader is by taking turns reading page for page. This lets your reader have a break every now and then, and lets them get into the story. It is also very valuable as it gives them a chance to listen to how you read. This can model the core skills discussed in the previous section as well as many of the other ones to come. This type of reading gives them a chance to listen to your reading in an extended capacity. When you are reading more than just an isolated sentence, this can really help to show the rhythm and flow of the writing. A lot of books for children have been written to be shared out aloud, and you might find they have a different dimension to them when read like this. Reading as narrator or character. Another type of reading that you might want to try is separating roles. This is easier for some types of books, so you will have to choose them ahead of time. You might want to read the part of the narrator and let your reader or readers take on the roles of the characters. If there is no narrator, you can be the characters reacting to each other. For this type of reading, it would be best to pick something that doesn't have too many characters, so that your reader is one reading one or two parts while they are being a character. They might feel more confident in trying variations with speed and volume to practice their expression. Try reading the same book another time and swapping characters so that they get a chance to read all of the parts.